Boo! Welcome to the spookiest edition of SteakDora the Explorers, REL 1 and 2A.
Yes.
It is Halloween. This is week 11. It is the third last review, if I am counting correctly.
Yeah, because we'll do one for 12 and 13, I guess.
I would assume so. I see no reason why we wouldn't do one post things, but it depends on how busy people get and all that sort of nonsense and what the season is like, etc., etc. We are going to be looking at REL 1 and 2A, of course, after week 11. We're looking at teams this week. Shadorra might have to cut out a little bit early. It is Halloween and we have Halloween plans, although mine mostly involves sitting at home and his involves going to do social things like a real human being. So,
Going to a party.
shall we get into things?
Yeah.
This is these are the results from week 11 in REL 1. I also need to adjust your camera again.
Who knows?
Okay, so first of all, we have the Bad Apples versus Tessa. Conspiration Anthropique. I tried. Please don't hate me. We predicted that the Chaos would take this one, and we were wrong.
Yeah.
The
Bit of an upset for sure.
yeah, I saw this in chat, and I believe there was some like tripwire to prevent the tie kind of nonsense that occurred. But still, if that's a tie, that's what prevented the tie rather than a win. That's a little bit of an upset, I think, for the Bad Apples.
Yeah, and the Bad Apples had decent entry rolls, 16 breaks into only 8 removals. I guess that's about average. Claw Mighty Blow makes Mighty Blow, I should say, makes that a bit under average, but probably about right. I
mean, very elf things, right? Like 14 blocks total from the Bad Apples, less than one a turn, and they managed to take the 1-0.
Conspiration was getting got 42 blocks, which is pretty high for an elf match, but he's got some tools for holding elves in place, so that's probably why. Elves did not have armor this game, but yeah, managed to pull it out.
Yeah, 1-0, which I'm pretty pleased about because that helps my playoffs chances. It makes things a little bit more difficult for Tessa, but it's not any way out of the realm of possibility. And we had the Greenskin Brawlers versus Cheese Tactics Mark II in the Orc Mirror. We predicted that the Orc team with less damage would take it, so Greenskin Brawlers, and we were correct there. 8 armor breaks to 8 armor breaks is about as even as you could think. However,
that's Cheese is the one causing the damage.
Yeah, that's interesting. But the Greenskin Brawlers took it anyway, despite Cheese doing more blocks or less blocks, but getting more damage out of it.
Yeah, getting 6 removals on 8 breaks is pretty decent, must be said.
Yeah. He rolled a lot of ones, not that that really matters.
Both teams had real armor 9. Cheese couldn't GFI, but
he also couldn't pick up. One for 5.
I failed 7 in a row this week. The rookie numbers. You gotta bump that up.
You understand the pain.
No. 4 is nothing.
Yeah, it's probably, I mean, she's got more removals, but he wasn't able to do things like with the ball, which turns out it's pretty important to be able to score. So a couple unlucky rolls here or there can potentially make that difficult. And not being able to pick up and not doing great on GFIs. I mean, Orc GFIs, we all know how those go. Could probably cause that. Rowdy Rebel Rousers versus not an anime sports team. We predicted that the High Elves would take this, and they did. Is that what we predicted? I guess we did, yeah. Nice. Good job, us.
Apparently.
It's almost like I forget everything the moment I say it.
Yeah, I also look at this and I'm like, I'm surprised we didn't predict the Nurgle. But I have here that we were predicted the High Elves. Maybe I just wrote it down wrong and I got it right accidentally, in which case I deserve it. Fuck you.
Yeah, well, we both predicted it, so...
Yeah, I know. I'm saying fuck you to the audience, not
to I see, you. Yeah. 44 blocks resulted in 18 armor breaks, 3 casualties and 4 KOs.
13 tentacle rolls. Goddamn.
How did the Nurgle sustained 4 casualties and 2 KOs off of 7 armor breaks?
They got 2 regen though, so
that is true. and what was their KO? They got both of their KOs back too. So they got all of their players back at some point, but it seems weird that they had that many removed in the first place.
Yeah, it might have been some unlucky stuff going on there for sure.
Yeah, and even just, you know, they all came back the next drive, but even one drive being down a player or two to elves is really hard for Nurgle because you're so much slower than them. You need to be able to like cover a lot of the pitch. One or two can make a pretty big hole, even if it's only for one. Even if it's only for one drive. Yeah. And then Thick, Rich, and Creamy versus Ragedorf. We had predicted that Thick, Rich, and Creamy would take this, and they did, 2-1. Looks like Masterdorf got armor broken in this one, and also gained MVP, so that's annoying.
Rough.
To level him. Gained a level and an injury in this one, I guess.
Yeah, picked up tackle. He'll live briefly and brightly. Necro getting tons of breaks, not a lot of damage. They got 23 armor breaks, and only caused 4 removals.
Thick
Rage
Skull,
on the other hand,
Thick Skull doing things.
On the other hand, was removing players left and right. Got 10 removals on 18 breaks. But the Necro were able to pull it out because dwarfs are dwarfs, probably.
Yeah, and, you know, Werewolf, as just, you know, when you're twice as fast as the players on the other team, it can be pretty easy to run away. And if the dwarves get, you know, there's a lot of stuns, which can be annoying because it basically takes the Longbeards out of the game for 2 turns because they're so much slower. So even if you just stun at the right time, open up a hole, run a werewolf through, a lot of the times the dwarves can't do anything about it because they're so much slower than you. So if those stuns, even though they were all stuns, if those stuns were at critical times, it could make it pretty much impossible for Ragedorf to do anything.
Yep. And then Archangel's Will versus Fogmire Fenbeast. We thought the Wood Elves would win, and they did, 2-1. 25 armor breaks for Rolling Red.
That somehow doesn't surprise me, seeing every game, having A, played against Rolling Red, and B, seeing a bunch of his games. I don't understand how his lizards, like, beat teams into submission as seriously as his do. But it turns out, even that many armor breaks don't stop elves.
Yeah, elves,
8 casualties. See what I mean? If this was any team other than elves, they would have just lost. Because the Fogmire Fenbeasts take teams and they crush them into the dirt somehow.
So Archangel had pretty good dodge dice, terrible leap dice, 50% on leaps. It's pretty rough. Terrible armor. Like, hilariously bad armor. Like, Snotling armor? Maybe worse.
Yeah, well, I mean, Archangel suffered 8 casualties on an 11-player team and 4 KOs, and 1-2-1 anyway. Yep. I mean, managed to score before too many of the casualties occurred, I guess, and then, you know, the Fogmire Fenbeast just didn't have enough turns left to make it into a win or a tie, even though there was...
all the casualties could have happened, like, in the second half or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Wood Elves don't need a lot. Like, I think basically could have been 1-1 at the going into the Elves drive, and the Elves were able to, like, stall it out or something along those lines.
Even with a couple elves, it's easy enough to, like, stop a potatoing skink because they're strength 2, you know? So, like, the 2-turn can be not as easy as you'd like, even if there are just a couple elves around.
And then Scooby and the Gang versus Fear and Bloating. Another upset here. Scooby and the Gang taking a loss.
Yeah, we didn't predict anything here because it had already happened, I believe.
Yes, we did. No, Necro versus Nurgle. I wrote that we predicted Necro.
Well, you didn't send that to me.
Okay, well, we did. So, spoilers, we lost a point.
Okay.
No, Div 1's pretty good about not playing their games. Apparently, I just skipped that one accidentally.
Yeah, you just didn't send me that, so it wasn't in my YouTube description, which is where I get all my info from.
Yep, looks like the Necro just got pitch cleared. 51 blocks to 28. Like, they just... Yeah. Looks like they sustained serious... They actually caused a lot of damage to Fear and Bloating, but it looks like they sustained more damage and it stuck. Let me check regen. Regen was terrible for Scooby and the Gang. 1 for 5, and regen was...
Average.
Even, like... Yeah, average. So most of these Kaz are on Rotters, so took out a bunch of Rotters and like KO'd a bunch of stuff. Or KO'd some stuff, I should say. But wasn't able to get it to stick, and looks like they just got beaten to the dirt.
Well, yeah, and it depends on what players were cast for Scooby and the Gang. Like, they have that Agi 5 werewolf who's so ridiculous, but if he's out, suddenly things become way harder for Scooby.
Yeah, he's
like,
only got a strength 4 Blodge Step Claw Mighty Blow wolf.
Well, it takes away a big tool, right? Like, that's pretty much how I won my gaming in Scooby and the Gang, was I made that werewolf stay off the pitch for most of the game, and he wasn't able to use the Agi 5, which made such a huge difference. Yep. So if those removals were on important players, like the werewolves, rather than just zombies, then that basically could decide the game right there.
Yep, and it probably was. And then we had a contested pick, Lizards versus Nurgle. I picked the Lizards because I had to, and you picked yourself, and you won. So
yep,
kudos to you. You pitch cleared the Lizards.
I did. 21 armor breaks is a thing. Yeah, I mean, I did pitch clear the Lizards. There were 0 Lizards at the end of the round, or at the end of the game.
Wow. Yeah, his armor was he failed almost 75% of his armor rolls. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. Like, I've never been. It felt bad almost. Like, you know, as Nurgle, you have Claw Mighty Blow. You want to remove players. That's how you win. But like, when every block was just a removal, I was like, this is just kind of dumb. Like, I just got really lucky. He got really unlucky, however you want to describe it. There were 2 kickoffs during the game where he was able to legal concede because there was only 1 skink and 1 Saurus on the field. Like, he couldn't make an LOS. So that's, you know, and I just scored 3 times on my rookie Pestigore to level him, which was kind of nice. So like, it was a really good game for me. I was able to get 9 SPP on a rookie Pestigore, bunch of SPP on other players. Like, it was really good for me, but like, it wasn't the most exciting game in the world. It was just sort of, the Nurgle removed all the Lizards 3 turns into the game, and then that was it. I guess to put into context, turn 1 of his offensive drive was turn 1.
You pitch cleared him, and you've been talking about them unendingly for 30 seconds.
I just wanted to explain to people how like unlucky this was for him. Turn 1 is he blitzed a corner of my rule of 5, which is a Nurgle warrior. He got like a skull both down, so his Saurus was stuck on my Nurgle warrior. My turn came around. I hit the Saurus, badly hurt him. It was his best Saurus because it was his blitzer. Like, that's the whole game in a nutshell. His blocks failed, mine worked, and then you know, there were no Lizards left. So after that, keep in mind 2 games have been played. Conspiration Entrepique has played the Charlestown Chiefs, and Ragedorf has played Archangel's Will for next week. So the leaderboard isn't perfect currently, but this is currently what it looks like. Travis Grabble and Red Joker, who haven't actually played, are tied for first right now, for the first 2 spots. Tessa's in third, who has played, and then Archangel and myself are tied for 4th, but Archangel has played this week and I have not. So there's a bunch of movement that could still happen here. I am going to do so, yes. Boink. I'll bring it up. This is what it looks like currently, even with the two games that have been played. So Div 1 is super close, right? Scooby and the Gang and Fear and Bloating are, you know, the highest in the div, and they are not. We're talking about it right now. Burrito. They're highest in the div, but nothing is locked in yet, right? Even the first place team could potentially finish as low as 8th, which is quite a testament to how tight the Div 1 race is currently. I mean, it's not exactly a good chance, but it's theoretically possible. So we do have this sort of 4 front runners in terms of like playoff percentage, roughly. Are you know, Scooby and the Gang, Fear and Bloating, Conspiration, and myself are the top 4 playoff chances currently. Archangel's Will, Greenskin Brawlers, Rowdy Rebel Rousers all still have a more than good chance of getting in. Not an anime sports team has an off chance, as it were, and these other teams are out currently from the playoff running. But there are 8 teams still that can make the 4 top playoff spots with 2 weeks left to go. Shows you how close this div is. I mean, there's a lot of points that are right on top of each other. A lot of teams very, very close in terms of the standings, which is it's kind of cool to see.
Yep. So shall we do teams?
Yeah, 23 points, by the way, is what the 7 and 2 is the highest amount of points. Cheese
got a little bit banged up. Is this a niggle? No, he was already niggled. It's an MNG.
Well,
so just an MNG on a blocker. But,
Baby Swiss is still around. We may note that Canadian Cheddar is no longer still around.
Oh, did Canadian Cheddar die in the Orc off? I think he did, yeah.
He is gone.
It was a bad week for Legends. There's another very big Legend death that we'll talk about in a bit.
Oh, remember how last week when our Archangel got double 6s for the Legend level on his player that he didn't want strength for?
Yeah.
The other Steer leveled his skink to Legend this week and also rolled double 6s.
Nice.
decided not to take strength because it probably wasn't very good.
I'm Dave Killer Carlson. Yeah, I would take block on that skink.
Yeah. Anyway, Cheese. His thrower's leveled up. He's got block now, so he's slightly less useless as a thrower.
I saw that. Got the MVP for it too.
Anything else lying around here that's new? Wrestle on this lineman on Colby Jack the 7th, perhaps, with 17 SPP.
Not a lot else going on. That troll still has thick skull and exists. Is Baby Swiss's catch new? I think it is.
No, I think he's had that for a while.
He's not the exact level SPP, so I guess maybe Baby Swiss has gained 0 SPP in the last 2 rounds, or 3 rounds. We haven't looked at teams in a while. Oh no, it was 2 rounds.
Yeah, it was a while ago. But I don't remember, but I don't think it's new. But catch is useful for the 1 turn because it does often involve handing off.
Yep. And then ArchXL is back up to 1610, even though he's down a 190k lineman. So he's got a team again.
Yeah. We've got he had to recycle both of his blitzers several times, and they've both gotten at least levels now. And Totes Not Girls and Panzer is 1 SPP away from a 2nd level, and he's got guard on the doubles. Yeah. That makes sense.
Elf team, pretty good.
I was going to say, he's a blitzer. Do you want Mighty Blow? But nope, he's got Mighty Blow and 2 other catchers, so he doesn't really need it. You just take guard at this point.
Including Ed Hell, who has a movement up, movement bust.
Which is really funny.
So yeah, I mean, it's a solid team. Absolutely Not Air Gear is a really good thrower. He's got a really good killer in probably Keijo. Ed Hell is a weird piece and is only weirder now that he's movement busted. I mean, maybe you look to recycle him eventually, but I don't think you do it now.
Eye Shield is very annoying as well, even with the movement bust. That's a movement 7 blodge step frenzy for surfing from the middle of the pitch.
Yep, still like a totally great piece. Slower than that piece should be, but is great. And when he dies, he dies.
And that lineman is also incredible for the games. It's very much ArchXL. He's got like a couple incredible players, but I don't think he's actually played a game in the last 4 weeks with all of them. Like the game against me, he was missing the thrower. His game last week, he was missing the thrower. Like next week, he's missing the lineman. Like I don't think he's ever actually had all of his good players for 1 week yet.
Yeah, and the only thing this team really misses is a sacker. Like it's really good at playing the bash matchup. Actually, it's got 2 Mighty Blow and 3 guard, which is pretty nuts for elves, but does not have like any sort of leap wrestle shenanigans.
No Agi 5 bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. So it plays a good punch match, but how well can it elf? Pretty well, given that he's been getting lightning bolts. You don't need a sacker, it turns out, when you have a lightning bolt every game. But
that's true.
I don't know how long that's going to keep happening.
And that thrower, you don't really you just keep him in the backfield with the ball, and then you can like long bomb it to whoever very easily.
Yep, he's pretty solid. Then we have Jimmy Burrito.
Jimmerthy.
I know, you always say it. Both of his wolves back up. El Padrecito is nursing a niggle now, so
I think they both are.
Yes, they're both niggled. So wolves will die, but that's how this goes. Probably Not Provolone is not new, right? He's been around for a while. Yeah, 16 matches in his 5 SPP. Rookie flesh golem things.
Yeah, well, until he gets that block, it's going to be hard to make blocks with him, and then you don't get casualties. And
Vanity Pass, man. Vanity.
Yeah, easy edgy 2 Vanity Pass. I'm sure he's totally never tried that.
The movement 4, I think, is the bigger problem, all things considered. I guess you can hand off to him, but so then it's a 4+4+3+, because he doesn't have any agi up to catch with.
No.
Easy.
Very easy Vanity Pass.
50, 25%. What's 2/3 of 25%?
I don't know. It's 2/3 times 1/4, right? So you could multiply all that nonsense together.
2/12, so 1/6.
Yeah. So basically,
fractions. It's basically learning math with SteakDora the Explorer.
It's basically just rolling a 6 is the equivalent of the whole sequence.
Yeah, it's true. It's a 6+
to get it done. If you boil it down to that, yeah.
Well, it's not because rerolls are a thing, but yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Although at the end of the game, you're not likely to have rerolls, and if you're trying to Vanity Pass on your Flesh Golem at like the start of the game, you're probably doing something wrong. But
committed.
Very, very committed. Very, very committed. We're not spooky enough
exactly.
for Doof.
He's usually not around.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we're both pretty pasty. That was certainly where we were going with that.
Count Market the Unfair has guard now.
Yeah, I think he had it last week too. I don't think that's new. I think. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty battered team.
Annoyingly
like
enough, Velasco is 1 SPP away from leveling for that level 3 zombie. I mean, he is block guard, which is a great zombie to keep around, but like you don't want him to get to 110k for a zombie.
Yeah, block guard fend is not bad, but I'd rather just have a block guard zombie.
Yeah, I think so.
Having the three best players in your team niggled though is no bueno.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
You could suddenly just not have a team. Yeah. Rolling Red, who didn't have a team and suddenly has more of a team now.
Sometimes
he's managed to pick him.
Stop dying. Is this a niggle on his best skank? No.
He has managed to pick up the full complement of Saurus. He's been without that for a while, but he has all 6 now. Dwarf Pube the Great, movement busted.
Still only has 2 Frenzy though. What is this team even?
It used to have like 4, didn't it?
It used to have 4, yeah. And then the best one died. It was Puff, I think.
You mean the armor up, armor busted Saurus is not the best one?
Yeah, no, it's not. So he basically had like a frenzy. I think it was like piling on, like blow, like that sort of thing. Juggernaut, Legend, Saurus, and they had Francis Drake, mild player, which was just block tackle frenzy, and I think Francis Drake got AV busted, or no, he died and he got appoed into like an AV bust or something like that, and then immediately after the appo was used on Francis Drake, Puff died, so he was just like, fuck Francis Drake, he's a traitor, and then he fired Francis Drake as well, so he lost two frenzy in one game. Yeah,
and that's why we have these 2 rookie now. It's taken him like 4 weeks to get back up to the full complement, but he has them now.
Nothing new here. He's
sneaky like, get skink is but it's still
he had
there.
It last time though.
I know.
Grab is new on Dwarf Pube, who should definitely be retired, given that he is movement busted and has rolled 4 normals.
I'm sad that Science Experiment hasn't leveled yet, because I really want to know what he's doing with Science Experiment, but there's no levels yet, so we don't know what he's doing.
Someone needs to kill it. Like, please kill Science Experiment.
No, I want to see what I need to see what Science Experiment is going to become. It's going
to be Frenzy. It's going to be a Frenzy game.
Going to roll doubles level 1 just to grab Frenzy.
Yeah, of course.
All right.
So yeah, nothing new really, other than that grab. He's actually like reasonably close to Legend on another source, and like, you know, the other 3 are gunning for it. He needs to level up Lord Wheeze of the Juice. And
Tredge is the most annoying Saurus in the universe, by the way. Having played against him, oh my god, he's so frustrating. Strength 5 break tackle blodge step is super annoying. He's like, here you go, have a Saurus, thunk, and he just puts him in front of you, and then you can't do anything about it, and it's so frustrating.
I've got to play Healthy Lizards with my incredibly battered Chaos team this week.
Good luck.
It's the face-off of 2x Miners champs, because it's me and Spoopy. And I'm going to die unless I just remove him to death, which is what you keep doing, even though you have no team. So yeah. I'm hoping that's going to happen, and I'm going to stop having like 60% failed armor rolls as Chaos facing off against non-kill teams. But I've
had to embrace it. For the longest time, I had no players other than killers, so it was my only plan. Now I actually have another player. Like, I have a ball carrier that can do things now, which is a different experience for me.
I have lost 3 ball carriers this season. I've
lost 4 or 5 over the course of the team's life, but I haven't lost one this season. He's actually finally managed to level. Fear and Bloating. Yaza the Great is still around. I don't think we have anything new there. We've got 2 Nurgle Warriors approaching Legend, but they're both very... One of them has got Dodge, so he's not going to get the full package. He's either going to get Stand Firm or Tackle.
He's moving 3. He's definitely getting Stand Firm.
I mean, they probably all... Like, the sort of Nurgle Warrior package is, you know, Mighty Blow, Claw, Block, Guard, Tackle, Stand Firm. Those are the skills a lot of people take, and you can see that all of these are building to it. He just happened to get Dodge on one of them along the way.
In slightly different orders.
We still have the sort of silly ball carrier, who's also he's hit Legend now. He's reached Legend and has picked up Tackle as his Legend skill.
I guess he didn't have much else to get, so...
It helps out a bit on defense, I guess. I mean,
I wouldn't have hated Fend.
No. He's 2 heads and dodge, so he can be like a secondary sort of sacker if you don't need wrestle, or if Gishmogors isn't around. And you know, he does only have, he has 2 tackle elsewhere, which isn't a ton if you're facing a lot of elf teams. So I mean, I don't hate it, but
another mobile tackle isn't bad. I think I would have probably gone for the Fend option because it's just nice to have against like frenzy sackers and things like that. But I understand. He's also building a new killer in Brashgors, but I think that's not new either. I don't think there's anything new here other than maybe block on Mashgor. So
it's pretty standard. Unless the only thing that would have surprised me there is the only other option, I guess, instead of block first, there would have been like Mighty Blow to try to accelerate the development. But when the rest of your team is already like block Mighty Blow, he's going to be slow anyway because he's going to be the last person to block stuff because all the Nurgle warriors are going to do it first. So like the Mighty Blow isn't actually going to accelerate you very much, so you might as well just make sure he stays on his feet and doesn't turn over too often, and feed him a touchdown or 2 when we can.
Yep, but yeah, good looking Nurgle team for sure.
Charlestown Chiefs.
Sears non-existent team because you Nurgled it.
It wasn't actually. Almost everything I did to him was just a badly hurt. There was one thing I think that
Nurgled his best source.
Well, he. Did I? Was that me?
Yeah, that was you. Literally told the story of you niggling that source when I was making fun of you for talking about your game.
No, because this is he's played this week, so that wasn't me.
Oh, wasn't it?
No, he's played this week. I think I just badly hurt that source. It was a difference. I think it was.
He has already.
I think it was Yvonne, maybe.
Tessa niggled it then.
Yeah, this is who it was. This isn't who he blitzed with, but this was later in the game.
Okay.
I niggled the Yvonne Lebrun. And then he appoed it, and the appo was a movement bust, and he took the movement bust rather than the niggle.
That is a good choice in this div.
But yeah, that's what
Strength
happened
Up
there.
is getting close to a level, but does not have it yet. Jake Hansen, the AV busted source, is close to a level, which is just sad. You really just want to ditch him at this point. He's eaten an unfortunate MVP for sure.
This movement bust was the only thing I did to the team.
That's good. The one turner is still around. Yeah, not a lot new here. I think
the block is new. Dave Killer Carson reached legend in my game versus him, and he rolled double 6s for that level, and elected to take block, which I think is smart because I don't think strength would do you any good there.
No, I mean you can get like a 1 die and some ball carries on a 2+, but like it's a 1 die without block. I don't know.
Yeah, he rolled.
Lizards also just don't need to cage dive. Most
in the second player in this div to reach legend and roll strength and not take it as their legend level.
We're all going to be cursed.
I know,
right?
right?
We have your team, which exists now. It's at 1790.
It's better than it was.
Lots of players.
I bought
Agi, which is exciting.
Yeah, I bought a new Beast of Nurgle. He's played 1 whole game.
And a new Nurgle.
My hepatitis B drill has guard now, so he's less useless, which is kind of nice. There's actually 3 guard on the team for the first time in all season, I think, which is kind of nice to have 3 whole guard. Still have a rookie Nurgle warrior, and I managed to score all 3 touchdowns in that game were on Bubonic Plague to level him, and I gave him wrestle so that he can start becoming a new sacker. He'll get tackle next likely and start going that way. Probably once he gets tackle, I'll buy the 4th Pestigore, but I also just can't afford a 4th Pestigore now anyway, so the question is kind of moot.
Yep, it's a good looking team though.
It's better than it was. All the niggles are gone.
It's got a bench of Rotters. Yeah, it's not bad.
It's not bad for like Div 2 or 3 compared to the Div 1 Nurgle teams. It's a little terrifying.
Everyone keeps dying, so Div 1 teams are pretty battered at this point across the board.
It seems that way. Somehow I keep doing all right.
Travel Scrabble got the shit kicked out of him. MNG on John Cutesack. Is it an MNG on the Wolf as well? Yes.
That's good. At least it's not anything worse.
Yeah. And a strength bust on the zombie, but who cares? Next game is going to be rough, but his team is fine. Both wolves, both flesh. Wait, is he missing a flesh golem?
No.
Yeah, everything's still alive. I mean, the ghoul, he lost his star ghoul, but that was a while ago. So.
And he's got a new one. He's picked up block on it, so it's well on his way to being a. He's already a lot safer now that he's picked up block. and he's on his way to getting, you know, sure hands and being sort of good ball carrier. When you don't need Muttley to have the ball. But yeah, next game without a wolf and without a flesh golem, he's going to be quite a bit more exposed. You know, you only have with only one wolf, you're probably going to be carrying on that wolf a lot of the time, rather than blitzing as much as you'd like. So you're going to have more limited options, I guess I should say. You're not going to have as many options to do things you want to do. You're kind of limited in who has to do what.
You may get inducements for the first time in a billion years. We'll see.
That's true.
And we have Archangel's team. Archangel's will. So many red numbers. Savari has eaten a movement bust on top of his armor bust. Is that?
Yep.
I think that is new.
That is new.
Poor Savari, limping along. AV6, movement 6. He who catches unseen took pass in the end. I think that was the
discussion point last time. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was the one that got the most attention because he's already got Nerves of Steel as well.
Yeah, with the Agi 5.
Oh, the tree. What is the tree? Oh, the tree is eating a movement bust.
Oh my god, the tree took a movement bust too.
I would just can it at this point.
A movement 1 tree. What is that? Is it still just a 4+ to stand up, or is it harder?
It's a 4+. No, it's not made any harder by less movement.
A movement 1 tree. I mean, at least if he takes root, you're not losing too much.
That's one way to look at it, except for you have 180k
in movement 1 armor 9 tree. Oh man, how much is a rookie tree?
120,
46, 120?
Yeah, 120.
He could afford one, but then he'd have no money.
Yeah, I would not buy a new tree. I would probably consider firing it and then not hiring anything right away. What has he got for this week? He already played because he lost to Rage Dwarf, right?
Yeah.
He's playing cheese. I mean, the tree is incredibly good against orcs, but dear God. It's just going to get knocked down and then be useless.
Oh, man. Okay. Yeah, he who catches unseen had reached legend and rolled double 6s, if I recall correctly. Could have taken strength. There's a big debate about what he should take. There's a lot of useful skills in there. I elected to go for pass, which I like, because basically when you're Agi 5, all you really want is as many... He's already got Nerves of Steel, so it doesn't really matter where you're passing it from. It's going to be a pretty easy pass with the Agi 5. And when you're Agi 5, anything you can do to just give you more rerolls, or like free built-in rerolls, so that everything becomes a 1 in 36 instead of a 1 in 6, is just a good idea. And this is going to allow him to, you leap in, you do your sack with Savari or with the War Dancer, you lightning bolt or what have you. You jump, you leap in with your 2+ leap, you pick up the ball with your 2+ pickup, and you pass it to someone else with your 2+ pass, like rerollable, and then you make sure you use the rerolls for the leap and the pickup and that kind of stuff. Just makes him just that little bit more reliable, which I think is super valuable. The thrower has not picked up any levels yet, but he's got 3 SPP, so he's on his way to getting the first one. New catcher, or new-ish catcher. He hasn't played very many games. At least not since the last time we looked at it. Yeah, 2 matches. Dead Wish, the War Dancer, I think he's just MNG'd. Yeah. But he's got Tackle, which is nice. And Adrastia, still around. Still kicking, still doing good things. HWCU is now a backup thrower because I always lose. Oh, he who catches unseen is a backup thrower because I always lose them. Just give catch to the thrower to hand off between both of them. Nice. I think it's a good idea. Just it's extra free rerolls, kind of. When you have Rage Dwarf, it just took me a minute to catch on to what you were doing. Rage Dwarf has a full team. He's got 2 blitzers, he's got 2 runners, he's got 2 troll slayers, and a bunch of longbeards. I think this is the first time since the start of the season that Rage Dwarf has had an entire dwarf roster with all the positionals other than the Death Roller. But he has picked up Insane Dwarf, the new troll slayer that he can start leveling up to be a backup to Furious Dwarf, who's on his way to Legend. Hellsdorf has got Agi, which is pretty amazing, considering Swift Dwarf is the defensive runner, the offensive runner. Agi is going to be really useful there. The only problem is he's still... You probably would have liked Agi as like a 3rd level, or 2nd level maybe, because right now he's still super exposed, right? Like, Who are you as a Mighty Blow Blitzer going to want to try to target on this team? One of the 11 players on the team with Block, Thick Skull, and Armor 9? Or the one player on the team with no Thick Skull, or with no Block and no Armor 9? Like, he's the most vulnerable player on this whole team, the easiest to get a removal on, and he's an important one, so that's scary. But he'll get touchdowns quickly as the Agi offensive designated runner, and he'll get blocked next, and then he'll be a lot safer. What do we have for level ups? Master Dwarf has gotten armor bust, which is kind of sad, but he has also picked up tackle, which is nice. I know so much tackle on this team, dwarves, but this one is slightly faster tackle, which is good. You know, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 guard now, 5 guard, if you include the Troll Slayer. So he's starting to build up that like wall of dwarf flesh with guard that's hard to get down. Alt Dwarf is great with the strength and guard. New guard here, new mighty blow here. 2 dwarves that are both a casualty away from picking up guard. And Swift Dwarf has dodge and on his way to legend dodge. Nice that he rolled the doubles there. Can cut corners a little more safely now. Or, you know, you're probably not going to cage dive or anything on Agi 3, but you might be able to dodge away from a mark a little bit easier now. Or cut a corner to save some movement, which can be pretty important with movement 6. As us sort of chaosy type players know, movement 6 is sometimes not fast enough. And then we'll go to Atomics and his Nurgle team. Let's see. In a weird order. I don't even know where to start because it's all in a strange order. The Sage has got blocked, but I think he's had that for a bit. Beast of Nurgle. The 4 Nurgle Warriors. Do we have anything crazy here? Just armor busts. I don't think anything new. And the other Sand Dune has been legend for a bit, so nothing new there. Bird still exists, the good sacker. He's got Frenzy as well, but I think that's not new. Ornan is the ball-carrying Pestigore, who has gotten all the skills you want as a ball carrier, basically. Which shows you how skill-dependent Nurgle are, because it took him 5 levels to get to the, like, good, I think he's a good ball carrier point. Block, dodge, sure hands, extra arms, 2 heads, the fake Agi 5. Or Agi 4, as it were.
Yep. So, is there a lot else that's new? I mean, did you talk about Sand Dunes Pro?
That's not new, though.
It's pretty new, I think. Sand Dunes only been legend for a little bit.
You talked about it last time, I think.
Oh, okay. I must have just forgotten. So, yeah, not a lot
or maybe
else.
I forgot. I don't know. It's Pro. We can talk about it if you'd like.
So, yeah, nothing really new then on the team.
No, not a huge amount, no. Thing 3 has a pending level. I mean, you could just take another dirty player, but Wrestle is also not a bad idea.
I mean, I would take Dirty Player and fire Bert, because Bert has armor 7.
That's very true. And he's also 13 SPP, so he's, you know, closer to leveling. I would probably do that, as long as you're okay with losing a Rotter and you don't need one for the next game or anything. Barry Sanders, what do you take next as a Blodge? Is he a backup ball carrier, or do you plan on maybe guard? I guess if you don't need a backup
Lodge Guarder, yeah, seems like a fun thing to do.
If you don't need another ball carrier.
Greenskin Brawlers are down a bit of TV because they're missing their thrower. Morgrad is just MNG, yes. So no sure hands for their next matchup, and I think they're playing
me.
Oh, right, they're playing you, so they don't really care that much about it.
No, not really. The only thing it means is that they don't have any sort of other players, as it were. They have no bench, I think. Yeah, they have no bench versus Nurgle, which might be annoying.
Buy some. They probably should. Yeah, I would consider buying a few Linos.
Well, then it's gonna give me more inducements.
Let Nurgle have garbage inducements. So.
Are you okay with giving me like a lightning bolt though, when you don't have like a reliable pickup?
It would probably give you a bribe. He's at 1810, and Orc linemen are 50k. So if he could buy 1 Lino, and you would have 70k. So you could spend literally all of your money to get a bribe, and maybe that's what he does. 1
Lino is probably a good idea then. But no damage so far. other than an MNG, has escaped all of that so far. All the two Black Orcs are blodge now, which is kind of annoying, and one of them is block guard stand firm. So, oof. It's a very annoying Orc team. If I don't get removals, it's going to be difficult, because he's just going to outmuscle, outstrength, outguard. Like, if we get into that big bash fight, and I don't get armor breaks, I'm just going to get stuck and lose. But if I do get armor breaks, then we have a shot. So we're gonna rely heavily on the claw, I think, in this one. Mork Nest still the same. I think everybody else is the same. Sorok is not a new legend. But yeah, if he's gonna out bully me if I let him, so we're gonna have to do my best to pick off some orcs. And without a bench, and I go first, if I get 1 LOS removal, suddenly next half, you don't have idiot line orcs to stand in the way. And then Tessa and his chaos.
They've got a fresh Chaos Warrior, which is unfortunate, of course. Lost 1 in their last game. Einstein has a pending level. Could go
tackle or stand firm.
Yeah, probably tackle or stand firm. He's already got a lot of tackle, so I would probably pick up stand firm there. It's nice to have a stand firm warrior.
Yeah, both for the guard aspect and for if he tries to block you and doesn't push you away, you just stand firm, and the next turn you get to hit them back with Claw Mighty Blow. Like you might get an extra 1 or 2 Claw Mighty Blow hits out of it over the course of a game, which can be pretty valuable in like the bash matchup. Playing dwarves, yeah, for sure, I would take stand firm. And you already have a bunch of tackle.
Yeah, I think it's stand firm even if you weren't playing dwarves, but given that you are, it's
1,000%.
Yeah. Other than that, not a lot is new.
A second 2 heads Beastman, but I think that's not new either.
No, I mean, given that he's pushing the next level, I suspect Boar has been 2 heads for a little while.
Darwin,
yeah.
How's Darwin doing? Still doing good.
Chugging along to legend, has an agi bust, but that doesn't matter.
61 SPP to go until we see a legend big guy, which I don't think has been seen for a long time.
Get it, legend. You don't need Juggernaut because you've got block. You've got stand firm and guard and tentacles. I mean, maybe you just grab Jugs?
Jugs, it depends on, I guess, what you find you use him more for. If you do a lot of blitzing, Juggernaut is good for like the canceling wrestle and being able to push stand firm people out of the way, and you can do it twice because frenzy. If you want to continue to bank on the sort of stand firm tentacles annoyingness, you could go prehensile tail maybe and make that even harder.
Well, it doesn't make the tents harder; it just makes the dodge out harder.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's if he's the roadblock annoying piece with sort of block, stand firm, guard, strength 5, and then tentacles, prehensile tail makes it so he has to dodge.
Yeah, block does make Jug a lot less. It makes him like better against wrestlers, but like, I mean, you could go something like foul appearance or.
Yeah, I mean, doubles. If you got doubles, you could take tackle or dodge.
If it's doubles, you would take dodge. Like, I can't imagine a world in which you wouldn't take dodge and you're stand firm, block, claw, mighty blow, big guy.
Take 2 heads to make up for the Agi 1.
Pro, I don't think Pro is as good as dodge. Big guys. You want something that just passively does stuff.
Yeah. But if you don't roll doubles, your options are grab.
Take grab because he has frenzy.
Oh yeah, so no grab. No thick skull, no mighty blow, no guard, no stand firm. I mean, you could take Juggernaut, or you could take like prehensile tail or foul appearance. Maybe break tackle.
You could take break tackle. It's not the worst thing. Yeah, Caloric's saying the same thing. Anyway, it's a pretty good looking team. It's lost to Chaos Warrior, which, as I well know, like is a pretty serious blow to any Chaos team. He's like a little guard light right now, but
guard light 3, 4.
4 actually. Yeah.
3 is the most I've had on my team all season.
Yeah, but you're terrible.
Say that to my 4th place currently.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's a dice game. I'm just kidding.
So many.
Salty because I'm having a terrible
100% season. Luck. Blood Bowl is 100% luck. We might as well just like simulate every season and then just call it good.
Yeah, exactly. Just change it to like that game where they make all the Civ AIs play against each other and then write stories about it.
Does that work? Does the multi-block
Yes.
Frenzy work?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
In the same way that Frenzy Stab lets you you quit. You can choose not to take the second block and stab instead.
Huh. You should take Stab.
Yes.
How do you... Wait, so can you multi-block if there's only one guy in front of you?
No. I think you have to. You can only multi-block if there are two. I think you have to have two valid targets.
Okay.
I've honestly never tried though, so I would think based on how the skill is written, you would need to, but maybe
because that would be pretty good if you could do it with only one valid target. I mean, it cuts your strength, but you just like put an assist on it or whatever, and then you multi-block and then only hit the one guy, so you don't have to follow up. It's kind of cool. But I don't think it works that way, and I don't know if it works that way. Worth an experiment, perhaps. The Bad Apples and Agrain.
Still got all that dodge. Less though. He's lost to Blitzer. Gala 3 is getting up there in the numbers.
He only has 9 dodge players now. He can only field 9. Two people have to not have blodge currently on the field, which is new for Agrain. Multi-Blix.
I mean, I love it when people go to like correct their spelling and then misspell it again in a different and new and exciting way.
Multi-Blocks.
It always makes me.
It would have been better if you spelt it as multi-licks, because now I'm picturing the Minotaur just hugging the elves close to him with tentacles and just like slurping them like a big dog. It's pretty
accurate.
Great. What do we? I don't even know what's new. Everything is dodge. Everything is Raj. Jesus Christ, this team.
He picked up. His Blodge Step Sure Hands Blitzer also has guard now because he rolled a double, and you just can't pass that up on elves. So he's
3 guard.
He's a multi-tool in Fiji. This is the third. No, the second triple dodge Div 1 team. I think there's one in Div 2.
This is the other elf team in Div 1 that outguards me, because both of them do. For somehow. I don't know what's new. There's too many dodge. Is this dodge new? I don't know. It's an annoying team with so much Raj and dodge and stuff going around. He hasn't had the best of luck this season. It doesn't matter if it's new
because it is effectively the same team every week.
I mean, it's good. There's a reason why he won the Super Bowl last season. It's very annoying to play against. Shall we look at the schedule and do some predictions?
Yes.
So we have the Bad Apples versus Thick, Rich, and Creamy.
We are going slow at this rate. I will not make it through Div 2.
Okay, well, we'll try to go faster. Okay, so it's Jimmy Burrito and the Bad Apples. What do we think? I mean, there are 2 Tackle Wolves, which is certainly useful.
Oh, I'm looking at week 13. 2 Tackle Wolves, Claw Mighty Blow. I mean, Necro normally do quite well against
Dark Elves?
Dark Elves, because they're, in some ways as fast, if not a little faster than Dark Elves. Slower on average, of course, but they have positionals that are faster than any Dark Elf.
100k, so no Wizard for the Elves, which makes a difference. I think I like the Necro. The Elves are good, but there's both Wolves having Tackle and sort of Frenzy Tackle. It's pretty likely to... And Mighty Blow. We're pretty likely to knock down an Elf, and then we have a Mighty Blow and piling on to potentially hurt the Elves we do knock down. I think I like the Necro.
No bench for the Dark Elves, so any removals are certainly going to be felt.
And one guard being out makes that a little tougher for them Dark Elves. They have 3, but they only have 2 for the next game. So
and then we have
non-anime sports team and Fogmire Fen Beasts. I don't know.
REBBL will win unless he gets literally crushed.
Which happens every time. Every time we're I like the team that isn't Rolling Red, and then Rolling Red just beats the team into the earth, and then they lose because somehow Rolling Red gets 8,000 blocks and 40 million injuries. Is
a Robbie of lizards.
But without playing like a Robbie, it's pretty impressive.
True. Yeah.
He is REBBL is missing the good line elf with the guard. No, despite saying that, yeah, I think I want to go with REBBL. Although you know, who knows? With rolling red, anything can happen. The Agi diving tackle skink being out is actually kind of annoying. So we might be able to just out ball handle them, as it were. Cheese versus fear and bloating.
Nurgle facing against an orc team with a bunch of niggles. Yeah.
And that Nurgle team as well.
The beefy Nurgle team.
Yeah,
that's going to be a real struggle for Cheese to pull anything out of this one, I think.
Hard to pick anybody but Nurgle. Tessa and the Lizards have already played.
That's just the Diff 1 story. Hard to pick anyone but Nurgle.
I mean, and sometimes...
Just like on average, if you just pick teams, you know, if you flip coins, most of the time you're
That's true.
Nurgle.
Greenskin Brawlers versus me.
What do you think, Steak?
I'm gonna pick Professor Chaos because that means I'll probably win, because that's how my predictions this season have gone. When I pick against myself, I win, and I really want to win this game, so I'm gonna predict Professor Chaos.
I think you'll win, so I'm gonna pick you. I actually want Professor Chaos to win, as he remains my dark horse, but
winning this match is going to do huge things for my playoff chances. Losing it is going to do huge things for his playoff chances. So
exactly, it's an important one for both of you guys. Maybe we'll watch it next week. We haven't watched one of your games yet, have we?
No, but that's weird because I play the games and cast them while I play them, so I don't know if casting it.
No one watches you.
More people watch me when I play my games than when we do the recaps.
That makes sense, really.
But I just think, like, if Claude doesn't do a thing, I lose, and it's really hard to like bank on Claude doing a thing sometimes. Rowdy Rebel Rousers versus Scooby and the Gang.
This is a big one.
It is, and I think the big thing here is that Scooby and the Gang is missing players, right? They're missing that Agi 5 Wolf for this one.
Wolf, and they're missing another player because they're down to 15-7.
If he had that Agi Wolf, I think I would pick him.
And he's missing a Flesh Golem. Yeah, no, this is absolutely going.
Having played this team, it became infinitely easier as Nurgle once that Agi 5 Werewolf is off the field, and Atomics has a better Nurgle team than I do, so it's basically the same situation, and the Wolf starts off the field. So I want to take the Nurgle here. If it wasn't for this MNG, I would pick Travel Scrabble, but this Wolf is so important that, or makes it so hard for Nurgle that one Wolf being out makes a huge difference.
2 games are played because Div 1 is bad this week.
Yeah, so let's go to Div 2. Div 2A.
No games played yet.
Weird.
You guys got a role reversal.
What the
2
fuck?
to 5. Nice.
I mean, so we predicted the Dark Elves for this, and dear lord, were we ever wrong. It being 5-2 for the Rebel Cheese Thieves.
I mean, admittedly, the Rebel Cheese Thieves were like owed a win at this point. And yeah, they got.
Steak loses all games. I do. I lose every game I play. 5-2. They both had 10 armor breaks. 3 casualties sustained. 1. So man, not only did the Dark Elves lose 5-2, they also got out removed, which is not really how you want to feel as Dark Elves against these rats. We were like, man, these rats, they have a 1-turner and not a whole lot else. But I guess they made that work for them with 5-2. That's ridiculous.
Yep. Good game for the rats. And then we have
a lot of SPP.
Lewis versus the Forsaken Awoken, the Necro, and we predicted the Nurgle would win, and it was a tie.
Yeah. 20 armor breaks, 47 blocks, 20 armor breaks, 41 or 16 armor breaks, 41 blocks. 2
kills for the Necro. Looks like the Nurgle got the shit kicked out of them.
They both did. I mean, the Nurgle had 6 casualties and 5 KOs. The Necro had 3 casualties and 7 KOs, but sometimes KOs come back, sometimes injuries don't.
Forsaken Awoken was 100% on regen. Lewis was 66%. So,
but the KOs are 25% for the Forsaken Awoken, and they had like 8 KOs or something, 7 KOs. So they sustained 7 KOs.
They're probably even on numbers, despite the fact that
for a lot of it,
4 of the Kaz stuck to the Nurgle, I'm guessing that those 2 deaths were both Rotters. We'll have to see.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, punchy game. No one was able to quite make it work.
Yeah, I think both teams lost too many players to convert the second of the 2-1 grind. They both very likely just scored on their own drive while beating the other team into the earth, and then that's kind of what happened. They couldn't defend but they could both offend.
Yep. And then we have Nurgle versus Orcs, the Greeny Weenies versus Abysmal Cusp. Bull's having a rough game here, getting Nurgled as we predicted he would. Fighting back a little bit on the little little blocks he did manage to get, but yeah, definitely getting out punched by the Nurgle and
6 KOs and 3 casualties sustained.
A lot of breaks too, so the breaks just like add up in terms of stuns at that point, and there was a lot of KOs. So
there was a 5-man fireball that knocked down 4 players.
Nice.
It was always cool. Where were these regens? There were no regens made, so not all those were on Rotters.
Yep. Only inflicted 2 Kaz, so there wasn't that
and
much,
they're
really.
And they're both on Rotters, so that you don't really care as the Nurgle there. So they're not important players.
Holz's KO rolls were quite good, so the removals weren't really the story here, I don't think. Though, I mean, of course, losing those players for that drive is bad enough, but it wasn't a totally hopeless game.
No, losing them for the drive could potentially be why this is, 2-0 rather than 1-1. Like, if they don't have players for a drive, you can turn them over on their offense kind of thing, and then there you go.
Run out of players. It happens.
Yeah.
And Chaos versus Chorfs. We predicted the Chaos would win, and the Chorfs took it home.
That's surprising to me.
I mean, the Chorfs made so many blocks. Didn't actually get that many armor breaks. The Chaos got almost as many armor breaks as they made blocks, and got a good amount of removals off of it. Not an insane amount, but pretty solid. But didn't win.
Yeah, they took 6 KOs, 4 casualties, 5 KOs, 1 casualty, and they didn't convert that. I'm a little confused.
Something silly must have happened.
Oh, all 6 for 6 KOs. Recovering for the contract killers makes a difference.
Nothing stuck, yeah. And
I mean, the injuries would have, because there were 4 casualties, but if they were all on hobgoblins, maybe that wasn't enough, and maybe they came too late. There was also a pass and successful catch, so that very well could be why this is 2-1 instead of 1-1, like a desperation turn 16 pass that worked out.
A few shots in the balls for the Chaos, but the GFIs failed them.
Let us see.
Failed exactly 2 GFIs. Oh no, wait. Okay, well, 91% successful GFIs for the Chorf says something. It turns out when your team is on average 2 movement faster with no risk, that helps. GFIs, it looks like they failed 2 for the Hornstars, which could have been pretty crucial one.
Yeah, probably one of those games where nothing terrible overall happened if you look at the dice, but if there's 1 or 2 really bad, like, this has to work or I lose plays, it's hard to tell that from the dice log. We have Felwis Kuatadal versus the Lackland Longtongues. I predicted that the High Elves would win, and you predicted the Lizards would win. I win.
Right. 2 for 2 this week.
Not bad. One of them was me, so that's kind of nice.
On Felwith Kuatadal got some good removals. Blizzards weren't able to get the same kind of removals.
Lizards being...
The High Elves removed themselves a bunch. I guess not really that much.
Lizards, like, High Elves being mostly on pace with Lizards for removals is not how you want the game to go as Lizards. Even if it's only 1 or 2, like, it makes such a big difference because they're so much, like, more agile than you are.
Well, I mean, the average player is just so much better on a High Elf team than they are on a Lizard team.
Especially when it's fell with Kuatadal and they're all, like, ridiculous strength 5 and movement 10 people.
Yeah, and the Lizards had not AV9. So if those removals were Saurus, then you had a bad game. With Kuatadal pulling out another win to stay near the top of the div. And then we have Rebel Rage Quit versus the Grunty Desserts. We predicted the Nurgle would win. Wait, what happened with the Vamps? I skipped that.
You missed one.
Power for Life and Battle Brothers. We predicted the Battle Brothers would win, and they did, but at a cost.
Did they?
I told you this cost. You know what it is.
I know what the cost is, but do the people know what the cost is?
Griff is dead.
Yeah, the Griff Blitzer is dead. The one with all the rerolls and Agi 4 and all that, and Strength 4. He's gone. Yeah. Sadly. Dead. D-E-D.
Dead into dead, I believe.
Yeah, but they did get the win, but I mean, that's not really a trade you want to make. I think I would be happy tying this to keep that guy around rather than winning, but oh well. Vamps doing a lot more blocks than the Bretonians, but that's unsurprising to me.
It's a punchy Vamp team, and it's a it's an elfy
Yeah, exactly.
red team. So yeah.
The Vamps taking Vamp levels of casualties in 6 casualties and 7 KOs, including a death. But that could, some of them is definitely from their own side. I think most of the KOs were, all of the KOs were, they bit their way to 5 KOs unless some of those were fouls.
Yeah, probably. I mean, that's usually how these things go.
Pretty good KO recovery for the vampires, though.
Their armor breaks there are inflated, as we've now finally realized.
Yeah, and the regen was good for the vampires as well, so a lot of those removals didn't actually stick anywhere.
I also dub-skulled first action in my claim game this week. Not the first time. I mean, I've done it a bunch of times this season, actually. I don't know. I mean, I've always got the rerolls. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it is annoying.
Yeah, it's very annoying to just suddenly be at 2 rerolls before you're done turn 1,
Oh, I mean, I was at 0 pretty quickly because I then proceeded to fail 7 straight pickups. So
that's fair. Yeah. The Battle Brothers take that as we predicted, but at a big cost. Rebel Rage Quit versus the Grungy Desserts. We predicted the not Arabi team would win, and they did 2-0. Although they did take a little bit of a beating. We assumed that they would be able to out Arabi. And they kind of did. I mean, 5 casualties, 8 KOs to 4 casualties, 2 KOs.
Oh no, but the sustained tells a different story. 8 KOs sustained for Grungy Desserts and 5 casts. So Arabi's fouling game was on point, I think.
Yeah, and that's what he does, right? I mean, when he's willing to just throw a foul every turn, even if it's not necessarily a good one, because all his hobgoblins have dirty player. Sure, you'll throw that 9+ foul because you're going to as a Arabi. That's what he does, right? It's not. They're not worried about losing players.
Sustaining the deaths, and one of them is Bull Centaur.
Yeah, Silitar.
Silitar is dead. The MVP.
Yellow
Brownie. I mean, these are just the saddest MVPs that either team could really have gotten. So.
Yeah, dead MVP Bull Centaur and a MVP legend. But Grungy Desserts winning because he played the game, or he played the ball. I mean, while also keeping up on the removals. So after that, this is what the leaderboard looks like. No games have played this week, right? Yeah. So we can bring up the div predictor here. And this is what it looks like. So with that win, we have a confirmed playoff spot. So Grungy Desserts will not finish any worse than 3rd with their win there, which means that they are going to be going to the playoffs. So Grungy Desserts is playoff spot number 1. Felvis Quadadal, very, very close. But there is this very small chance that could slip down to 4th, meaning they would be Challengers Cup instead. So that they're going to postseason. But it may not be playoffs.
Everyone's going to postseason. There is the OI is coming back in some form.
Is it?
Right. The post went up months ago.
Oh,
it's not called the Open Invitational anymore. I mean, it's still called the OI, but it's not called. Anyway, it's
I mean, postseason is in either playoffs or Challengers Cup.
I know.
So really, I feel like in this div, the competition is for that 3rd spot. And right now, Choleric is currently the leader there with the Battle Brothers, although. Luis and the Contract Killers, which is Bernie, I think. Are both, as well as the Lachlan Longtongues and Urs, are sort of, they have a chance at that, but right now it's a Cleric spot to lose, I think. Which is, Bernie being in this much of contention surprises me, considering how poorly his season started, but he's made a big comeback over the last few weeks, which is good to see.
Yeah, for sure. Though Battle Brothers has a rough couple of games. They're playing Bernie this week, and then they're playing... they're playing Welcome to the Dark Side, which is one of the lower ranked teams, so that shouldn't be as bad, but he is down his best player, so that is something to consider. Yeah, so
Stouticus with the 830 is 27 points, which is how that's locked in there. No one else, he can't drop below, there are not 3 other people.
They could knock him out of 3rd, yes.
Yeah, there are not 3 other people who can get higher than 27 now. Not for Science with 25, which is why it's so close, but not quite there. Because the 3rd space is 21 points, so they're sort of 2 wins away from most of the rest of the pack. But Choleric in 3rd solidly with the good chance right now for that spot. We'll see how it shakes up though, because he could lose it to a couple other teams. So schedule
4 points ahead of
teams. We have to look at teams.
We do.
Not for Science. Brel
taking some more red stuff.
More red stuff, yeah. The Blitzer, I think it's just an M. Nope. Yeah, it's just an MNG. He was already at G3. And the lineman is now movement busted?
Nope, he was already movement busted. Never mind. It's the same amount of red stuff.
He's just missing 2 players the next game. I mean, he still has the strength 5 catcher and the movement 10 catcher, which, you know, they're this team.
He's 3 SPP away from his, what I assume will be 4th double on Lord Mar.
So he's got another strength elf now. Before it was just a strength 5 elf. Now he has a strength 4 elf as well. In Unrepentant Soul, who's picked up strength to be a strength 4 blodge step tackle.
This team.
You know, he just needs guard, and he's like every like bash team's wet dream is the strength 4 blodge step tackle, but also like movement 8 and agi 4. Oh my god, what a dumb team. So much red, but so many good things. Like this, so many doubles. Like yeah, like you said, 3 SPP till probably the 5th double or 4th double or whatever on that blitzer. It's gonna be strength, right? Like, you know, it's gonna be strength in the tradition of double 6s as the legend skill. Of course it's gonna be strength. I don't know what else is new. It's hard to remember with this team. This guard might be new. A second wrestle guard, which is kind of funny. He's pretending to be Bretonians. They're all gonna die the same game. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that seems likely.
It's a second wrestle guard now. A little annoying that you've got the guard after wrestle, but still you don't pass up guard on the elds.
I mean, it's a wrestle guard AV bust. it's a weird player.
They're all weird players, man, but it's good. Dire Sickfish.
Yep. Speaking of some red numbers, I think the same amount of red numbers though. I don't think any of these are new. He might have taken an extra movement bust. The Warden's movement bust might be new. Not a lot else in terms of levels here. He's close to the Warden having a new level.
Yeah, pretty much the same. Yeah, the Warden is a touchdown and a Kaz or a pass or what, 4 SPP from leveling. He's already got blodge. He's got strength. He's got guard. What do we grab next?
Sidestep.
Yeah, I think sidestep is a good choice there. The strength 5
maybe
that is hard to knock down.
Stand firm instead of sidestep.
Maybe. I mean, I think there's arguments for both.
I mean, stand firm is broadly speaking better.
I think it depends.
There's no play around for sidestep, or there's no play around for stand firm other than Juggernaut. There is ways to play around sidestep.
Yeah, he's going to stand firm. Okay. Yeah, so sidestep can be nice in that suddenly you can, like, if your opponent does blocks in like a bad order with like a guard strength sidestep, you can shove the guard into an annoying spot to make his more stuff harder. But if your opponent is like good, they can play around that, and you know, so like this is way less.
Sidestep has higher highs and lower lows.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, I think.
Has counterplay where stand firm has no counterplay outside of Juggernaut, which is not a very common skill. And,
yeah, it's just nice and steady all the way through, right? You can kind of always have that reliability there. Whereas, yeah, like you said, sidestep could be way better, but it could also be way worse. So
I'm just gonna toss this in the sink before it gets crusty. Sorry.
Sure. Jahir is still around, still good, still the ball carrier. He's 4 SPP from leveling. I guess we like hope for more stats, but Sure Hands is probably not bad either on that player. I was gonna say kickoff return, but he's moving 7, so that doesn't really matter. Probably Sure Hands, considering he's often the ball carrier for this team while the Vamps run around and do stuff. And then there are other thralls. We have a kick thrall, we got a dirty player thrall. The rest of them are grab and wrestle, and otherwise are rookies to keep the team value down, which makes a lot of sense to me. Oops, didn't mean to back that far out. And we've got Robbie and REBBL. Missing a Bull Centaur. Sure Hands or Mighty Blow on doubles. Mighty Blow is interesting. Sure Hands doesn't surprise me. I think you'd probably really like to see like an agi maybe, or movement. But you know, you can't really plan on those. So we're missing a Bull Centaur, and this is a new Bull Centaur. Did both of them die?
The end is nigh.
No, he's
No, I like the blocker. DTO. I mean, the other one died as well. Maybe did you lose both Bull Centaurs?
No, because he's got two games on this Bull Centaur, so he's not new. But one of them has died. He's got like a full complement of Chorfs lying around, despite taking a bunch of casualties in his last few games. One Mighty Blow Claw, one Mighty Blow Claw piling on, and a couple of Mighty Blow piling ons. I mean, got one rookie Chorf.
It's a Chorf team, yeah.
I mean, it's an Arabi Chorf team. So
It's really not that different from most Chorfs. It just like doesn't get a ball carrying hobgoblin, goes a little heavy on the
mighty blow before guard kind of thing.
Piling on. No, I mean like that's a common.
Oh, yeah.
That's a totally legitimate thing to do on Chorfs. If you roll guard and then you roll claw, you hate yourself. Like
Yeah.
Guard claw is just so incredibly awkward.
Yeah, he's missing his killer bulls.
Yes, the killer bulls are a bit weird because most people don't build killer bulls. Sometimes you build a blitzing bull, which is a little different.
Like
than
a frenzy
bull.
block tackle one.
Yeah, and like sometimes you'll even give it mighty blow just because I don't think I'd give it frenzy.
Well, not first, but like it's like block, tackle, mighty blow, frenzy kind of thing.
Maybe the problem with frenzy though is like if your opponent sets farther than four squares back, you're suddenly committed to blitzing either with a GFI from a Chorf blocker, or you're blitzing with a frenzy guy, or you're blitzing with your like support bull centaur. I don't know. Frenzy isn't. I mean, like I don't hate having a frenzy one, but I don't think the frenzy one and the blitzer one have to be the same.
I think it depends on if you're if you're ball carrying on the hobgoblin or not, because some people will ball carry on a hobgoblin and then have two bull centaurs that do stuff, and some carry on a bull centaur and have one that's like a blitzer. And if you have the two like running around doing stuff, bull centaurs, like a frenzy one, and then like a more sturdy blitzer one are probably good options. But if you're that only really works if you ball carry on a hobgoblin.
And then we have the king of the div, Stauticus.
Currently, yes.
Has taken some damage. Movement bust on... No, it's just an MNG.
Yeah.
He's already... Angry Churro was already movement busted.
Yeah.
And,
he's not really this low TV. It's just he's missing 340k in TV from MNGs. So really, he's 2,300 something, which is ridiculous.
I think he's one of the highest in the div.
He's got to be. He's got to be highest in the league right now. Yeah. What is? It's hard to. When you're this high TV and everybody is very far away from levels, it's hard to A, know what's new, and B, actually get new things. The only thing that I could think of as being new is a dirty player rotter, but that's not particularly interesting. What do we... The Nurgle Warrior is close to leveling, but he'll just take Mighty Blow to accelerate that leveling. Maybe Guard if you really feel you need it, but I think I would go Mighty Blow just to try to get him caught up a little bit.
I would wait and see what kind of matchups I was looking at. Like, he's definitely going to playoffs, and he's got to be thinking about playoffs. Like, Mighty Blow is better for the team in the long run, but this team is also in the best spot it's ever going to be, perhaps, to win playoffs.
Yeah.
So you can't think Eternal League right now. You have to think winning games, and Guard wins games. Mighty Blow sometimes wins games, but I think I would go Guard on Fell on Black Vignettes.
I think it depends on who you're playing.
Sure. I mean, like, there are matchups where you'd consider taking Mighty Blow as a better skill if like you don't think you're going to Guard, and like you're going to be in like playing some team that has like very punchable linos, then sure.
Yeah.
At some point in the playoffs, you will look at that piece and be like, it would be really great if you had Guard.
Yeah, I mean that is a fair point. It's definitely worth thinking about playoff things when you're locked into playoffs now. It's good to think for the future with your players, certainly. Is there anybody who's like close to anything else? Cannoli as you are is probably the closest to legend.
Do you see Silly Tor the Rotter down there? One of the ex Bull Centaurs.
Ex Bull Centaur. He's now a Rotter. Cannoli as you are is he's gonna get stand firm because he's movement 3, and so it's not particularly useful to talk about. I mean, he might get like strength or something, but even then, stand firm is probably the only thing he's gonna consider.
Yeah, so nothing else really new there, so we can move on to the Bretts. Big hole in this team.
Right here, yeah, it's gone.
Probably going to hire a new blitzer. He's got the money to do it, and he's at 4 blockers for the first time all season. So, well, I think he was at it last time too, but
I feel like
normally Caloric has a blocker problem.
I feel like there's no reason not to, unless you think it'd be a detriment to your next game, because it's right now, Caloric is in a position where he really needs to win games, because he's the best chance for the 3rd spot, but that could be taken away, so he's got to try hard to like maintain that playoff spot.
So
if he's
going into his next game versus the Contract Killers, which is that Chorf team. So yeah, like he might be playing some sort of inducement game there, but the extra block piece is probably worth having. Right now, he's giving away a little bit of inducements to the Chorfs, who I think have a full team. Oh no, they don't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's one extra. So the Chorfs are actually at 1680, so they're exactly tied with the Bretts. So every player he buys gives inducements directly
for that value, yeah. So it's up to Caloric. I don't know the right answer. I mean, he is definitely a much better Brett player than I am, but he's going to want to buy a new Blitzer at some point. I'm not 1,000% sure that you should buy it for the next game or not. He still does have the 2 edgy.
110k, so he'd basically be trading a block player for a bribe.
And like it's a Blitzer, so they're still good as rookies. They are dauntless, block, catch, movement 7. It's certainly not bad. It's not like you're picking up like a Nurgle warrior or something with no skills.
I think the only way he loses this, given the kind of team that Bernie has, like Bernie just doesn't have the tools really to stop the agi shenanigans the Bretts are going to get up to, unless
too many removals
them into the ground. Yeah,
and a bribe makes
it
easier.
Giving the team a bribe when you already have a pretty deep bench, I think I'd delay it. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. He's got 2 player bench right now and 2 dirty players, so he can cause some damage himself. And the Chorfs are going to probably throw their blockers in the line. So there's a good opportunity for Caloric to get a numbers advantage early on, and then just like between that and the agi, like roll his way to victory. I think you hold up.
Yeah, and the 2 agi players are definitely enough to get the passing style sort of elf thing done. The wrestle on all the blockers is probably going to be annoying versus the Chorfs with block. They're still going to get to hit you, and they might get assists or what have you, but then it's 2 Chorfs to 1 blocker to make them a 2-die, and if those Chorfs are on the floor, they're a lot less useful. So it's going to be nice, I think, for Caloric, and I think not buying the Blitzer is good. Anyway, we're talking about the teams, not the games. I don't think there's anything new other than the dead guy, which is sad, but
Yep, and then we have Urs, Lactongue,
Longland.
I can't do it. Urs, I don't know why.
Do we have all the Saurus now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
6,
yes. We do. We are missing a skink, sadly, who is now movement busted. That's the sprint surefeet agi skink who got movement busted, which is a pattern we're seeing in lizard teams. Considering there's one in Div 1 that's that way as well.
Yep, so it's a little unfortunate, but still a decent enough team. It has 4 guard, it's got a mighty blow, it's got a tackle. None of the Saurus are niggled or AV busted, which I think is the only lizard team in these divs that can say that. Has good skinks, has a movement up skink, which is really nice. I wouldn't have gone sidestep. I think I would have gone sprint. I think removing one of the pushes. Well, I guess sidestep will often remove a push required, so maybe that's the argument there, and doesn't require an extra 2+ to do so. So yeah, okay, never mind.
I think it's good. Whoever he plays next is going to be pretty happy the agi 4 isn't there, because that is going to make your life quite a bit easier. He's very annoying.
Yeah, his skinks are still totally solid though, so he's in a good spot, and he's got a full bench, and he's at 1540, which is really lean. So I mean, he's going to have Slibbly probably. He's playing against.
You'd be pretty happy to play this lizard team if those 2 Saurus had blocks, and like that's it, and you'd be pretty happy. I think. More skills are better.
So he's going to have. Yeah, he'll have a wizard. I don't think he gets. He does not get Slibbly unless he scums it, which I don't know if he has the money for. He does, but I don't think.
Even if those 2 Saurus had block, you'd be at 1580, or plus the skink when he's back, so like 1700-ish, and that's a really good team for 1700, which is kind of nice.
Totally. Then we have Horn Stars, Mighty Mo.
They're getting big now too, 2280.
Yeah, they are a big chaos team.
Big boys, 2 legends.
Richard Rockhard has picked up Agi, which is nice. He's
another one.
Pretty tough to deal with. Yeah, he's not quite a bird. Like he's not the bird or the other one that has
or whatever.
Gishmagor, that has a strength 4. But I mean, there's a lot to be said for movement 7 as well.
Movement 7, wrestle, tackle, agi. Very, very annoying sacker. Yeah, for sure. 2 heads, and he's going to be super frustrating to defend against.
Yep, great Chaos Warriors. The dodge here might be new. The tackle is probably new on Worm Crush Spider. Not a lot else. The claw might be new on Young Sheldon. I forget.
Yeah, me too. But that's pretty typical.
But yeah, good looking Chaos team.
Both ball carriers still around.
Not doing great this season, but in a good place to do well in probably Div 1 next season. So
yeah, they're in a really good spot for next season.
Yep. I would keep an eye on them. And then we have Abysmal Cuss from Sir Kodiak, getting close to actually leveling Avondale, who has
And the
picked up-
ex-wife. Three SPP until the ex-wife levels.
Ooh, it's a good piece.
Guard, stand firm, block movement.
Break tackle, probably.
Yeah, break tackle, or grab, depending on how you feel. Really, you pray for doubles and get dodge, but you know.
Yeah, that would be nice. Decent warriors, still a little underdeveloped, and he's got this AV bust, unfortunately. He's got a Pestigore killer. Doesn't have any piling on. It's gone for the Juggernaut player instead, kind of keeping everyone on their feet. And with movement 5, I think I understand.
Putting him on the floor is rough.
But he's had that for a while. That's not new. I don't think there's too much. The Mighty Blow on Ecological Collapse is new. He might go.
So he's going to go claw, tackle, piling on, or claw piling on, tackle.
Claw piling on, tackle. Yeah. And yeah, some dirty players to round things out.
And
it's a good Nurgle team.
It's nice to have both options. I played for a while with 2 Pestigores, one with like the piling on and one with the Juggernaut, and you kind of had the choice of whether you wanted to, if you don't need the piling on, you can hit with the Juggernaut to make sure you can cancel wrestles or stand firms, whatever. And if you do want a piling on, you have that option.
Yeah, it's totally nice.
2 dirty players, what else do you take on Rotters? The only thing you really want is that Avondale to be not a rookie, and then you're quite a bit happier.
Yeah, I mean he needs a bit more development on the Warriors, but that's it. So,
yeah, another claw, another Avondale needs block, mighty blow. Another one of them needs claw, and that AV busted one probably wants guard, and then you'd be pretty happy, I think.
Yep, like I said, more development. So then we have Forsaken Awoken, who unfortunately on his new wolf has still yet to roll a double. So he had, I think, two wolves that were very developed that didn't have any doubles between them. And then he's got this new one, Demand Red, and he has since rolled 2 normals. He's 2 SCP away from trying again, which maybe that'll be the
magic level.
Yeah, not great so far. He's got Belzim on. He's picked up block. I think that's pretty new. And not a lot.
We're missing another flesh golem. He's only got the one currently. Paid the flesh golem tax.
Yeah, as Necro tend to. They tend to take blocks. Not a lot else going on there.
The ghoul is still this. This is the only ghoul remaining now that is the strength 4 ag 4 movement bust. There were 2 or 3, but the other ones died.
Ghouls die, so that makes sense.
And Jimmy Burrito had one that looked exactly the same as this, same stats and everything, but he died. And then we have a second ghoul.
I think Travel Scrabble also had one, but
I think 2 or 3. It was kind of weird that they all had the same agi up, strength up, and movement bust.
The Sacker Pestigores that are floating around.
It's very weird. I mean, it makes sense because they're good skills to take, but they would have had to have rolled the same combination of stats and injuries to be the same, which is kind of interesting.
Yep. And we have Welcome to the Dark Side. The movement up Dark Elves that now only have 1 movement up, sadly. Been a rough season for them.
We lost the ball carrying Blitzer.
Yeah, we did.
He died. He's gone.
And we have a rookie Witch Elf who's probably rolled movement. I don't know. Dr. Frankenstein is still kicking around, but that's the only one. It's hard to say what is new and what is not because this team keeps dying. But hey, it's another 3-guard elf team.
Yeah, 3-guard, a whole bunch of blodge. I mean, it's less good than it was at the start of the season. Definitely taking some damage, but it's still if all the players were on, like if we didn't have Ming MNG'd, this would still be a good annoying elf team to play at, especially at the sort of TV that it's floating around at right now. 3-guard, a lot of blodge, the 1 mighty blow. Like it would be an annoying mid TV like punchy dark elf team to play against for sure. I wouldn't want to really play it.
Mm-hmm. And then we have Lewis's Nurgle, who are still kicking around at 2110. Great Chaos Warriors. He's got the 2 perfect support pillars in Blodge, Guard, Stand Firm.
And also symmetric. It's very pleasing, other than that one injury.
Yes. The movement bust on the Nurgle Warrior is a bit unfortunate, but you just slap him with
Stand Firm.
Stand Firm. Well, no, you probably still want Guard, to be honest.
Yeah, I would take Guard first.
Yep. And then Dalthazan Rabies is the perfect one for getting... they both want Guard, really. You want 2 extra Guard on this team, and it's, great. Yeah,
I would take Guard before Stand Firm on literally every Nurgle Warrior, I think. I'm trying to think of one that I wouldn't, and I don't think there is one that I wouldn't. Then we have the Ball Carrier is close to leveling 2, so that'll be Pray for Agi. If not, you take 2 heads.
Sacker has picked up Agi. All it needs is strength now to join the club.
Join the club and be the third Pestigore. Can I have one of these? I would love one of these.
You have an Agi ball carrier.
Yeah, but I don't have an Agi strength sacker.
I have 0 stats. 0 relevant stats on all of my Chaos team. I've never had a relevant stat.
That Agi on this ball carrier is the only stat I've rolled in 3 seasons with this team.
Yeah,
if that makes you feel better.
I'm in my 3rd season. I've literally never rolled a stat with this team that was relevant. Anyway.
But I've literally never rolled this. Oh no, that's not true. My Beast of Nurgle had movement, which was a stat. It's hard to call that relevant though.
It's true. Lewis's team is really solid. There's not a lot else to say about it. It's like a gross Nurgle team. It's like lacking in guard, but other than that,
Beast of Nurgle is 1 SPP from leveling. Pray for doubles. If not, it's Brick Tackle or guard grab, like every other Beast of Nurgle. Couple of rotters. So it's good looking. Needs another guard or two, but it's got the right tools and definitely the right base.
I really gotta hustle this along, buddy.
Okay.
Or you're gonna lose me.
I'm just trying. I don't want to
I know, but you do that thing where you go and then you say the thing I just said again, but more emphatically.
I don't want people to feel like we're skipping over their team. I know we are because we have to, but I don't want people to feel left out. We're doing this for the people, Shadorra. We're doing this for the people. Holes. 4 blitzers. Cutie Chris has gotten movement, which I think is not new, but he's 6 SPP from Legend.
Yep.
Which is kind of exciting.
I think he was 6 last time too, so he hasn't quite pulled it in this week, but he's getting there.
What's the Legend skill there?
Guard, probably. It's just, I mean, you like a double for jump up, of course.
Yeah. Guard,
but if you
stand
don't get
firm,
a double
pro?
Guard. Pro wouldn't be terrible either. Yeah, I could see pro.
Couple other blitzers that we've got the great support one in Ditzy David. We've got the sort of backup ball carrier / emergency receiver in Bouncy Ben, which is an appropriate name I think for an Agi player, being bouncy. Yeah. Little Liam, the sort of second killer type of blitzer, which is always good to have. Only 3 Black Orcs. We've lost one, and one of them is MNG'd. Is it just an MNG? Yes. So we only have 2 Black Orcs for next game, but they are good Black Orcs.
You can afford to buy a new one though. That's if you're
they're
just
so
giving
cheap.
I mean, it's worth noting if you buy a Black Orc, you just hand Slibbly to Urs. So
that's kind of a bit of a trade.
I would not make that trade ever.
I don't think I would either. I get an extra strength 4 guy, but you get an extra strength 4 guy with more movement and guard and grab.
And stand firm.
Yeah. So you'd like a 4th Black Orc, but I think you hold off until after the next game. But only having 2 strength 4 pieces for the bat matchup against the lizards is going to be annoying. At least 2 of those lizards don't have blocks, so that's helpful.
Yeah, and he's got the troll with guard, which is nice.
And the pseudo Black Orc and Angry Angus kind of makes up for it a little bit as well.
Yep. So he's got some options certainly, and lizards tend to do poorly against orcs. So
contract killers.
Yep. Bernie Buffin.
He's got
already looked at this team, or I've already looked at this team because I was comparing it to the.
He's got the one Chaos Dwarf that's got all the skills, and the rest of them are rookies, pretty much.
Yeah, Bernie is definitely re-rolling. I think he was talking about it in REL chat. So the niggled sheriff is not enough to keep this team.
No.
So definitely in a rough place, despite their late kind of good performance. Not quite enough to convince him to keep it.
He's got a couple good players. I mean, the sheriff is good, but he's niggled, so if you lose him, that's rough.
Free guard is terrible on Chorfs because they're all strength 3, so you can't stand and fight with anyone.
If you manage to level all 3 of those Chorfs in your next 2 games, then maybe it's worth holding on to, but I think that's the only situation.
That's a far-fetched thing, yeah, for
sure. It really is. The Punchbag Bob is a really good ball carrier for a Hobgoblin. I mean, movement 7, block.
Yeah, and the Postman is totally solid. He needs stand
so
firm,
is Waluigi.
Yeah.
Good. But yeah, he needs some more Chaos Dwarf levels to make this team really good in the high echelons of REL, sort of 2-1, that sort of area. And it's going to be hard to get that with 2 matches to go for him. So it's we'll see what he does next season. And Jericho Peppers, the Rebel Cheese Thieves, have picked up some TV from the last time we saw them. They're at 1440, and I think last time we were looking, they were 11 or 1200.
Yeah, the strength up lineman has rolled a double for guard, so now he's a strength 4, a 7-4-3-7 guard piece. That's
not
bad. I mean,
it's not too bad.
It's 130k
for an armor 7. It's an armor 7 who wants to just sit there and be in the way, But it's also movement 7, strength 4, which is not to be sneezed at.
Yeah, I mean, if it survives to block, it will be 150k.
And
for
really
a storm
good.
vermin to have the same thing, it would be 160k. So it's not like it is not, but it also has 1 armor less than a storm vermin. So it's not bad. It's not good, but it's not bad.
And it's certainly useful. Like, it's going to be useful until it dies, and until then, it might take away some of your inducements, which your team kind of relies on a little bit. So who knows? But I mean, this team we've got a Bondance, and we've got Paneer, and we've got Will Be Okay, and that's all you really need is a gutter runner to remove the ball, a movement 10-1 to pick it up and give it to the other movement 10-1 who can then just go score because, movement 10 sprint, sure feet, leap. Like, these two natural one-turners there's the potential for 2 natural one-turners on this team, which is stupid.
And with that, we are on to the schedule.
Yeah, so Rebel Cheese Thieves versus the Forsaken Awoken. So we've got those rats against the Necro from Moneybags 1850.
Rats are gonna have a lot of inducements, that's for sure.
Do they have a full team?
Rat killer in Ravin though, and Ishmael really, but Ravin is also a great wrestle killer because he's got Juggernaut. So
410k of inducements on the rats.
Can get a hold of abundance. It's going to be a bad time for that rat.
Yeah.
How are the Necro for Sure Hands? They do have it, so that'll be a thing. So there's going to be a wizard and a bunch of other stuff.
We did say this last time. Like, if the team that's playing the rats can get a removal or 2, they're in good shape because the rats are never going to be able to protect those one-turners. But like, as long as those one-turners are on the field, it's going to be hard to stop them from scoring. So I guess it really comes down to how well Jericho uses those inducements and how many removals Moneybags gets. I think the one thing he does have going for him is that werewolves are pretty fast and they can keep up with the slower gutter runners anyway.
Yep, I think Necro usually do fairly well against rats. All things considered, they take Sure Hands pretty early on Blodge players. They are pretty fast and have good... Yeah, he has to, yeah, definitely. But Necro tend to have good rat killers, and they're pretty fast, so...
Yeah, I mean, I like the Necro for this one, but we were wrong last week, so who knows? But my heart says Necro, so... Plus, rats are gross. Rats are gross. Don't bet for rats. Abysmal Cusp versus Welcome to the Dark Side. So we've got Sarkodiacs, Nurgle, and the slightly beaten up Dark Elves.
Mm-hmm.
The Dark Elves are going to get a bunch of inducements, which is certainly useful for the Dark Elves. I mean, a Wizard is definitely a thing that is going to be nice for them.
Star players, maybe a Star player, maybe a couple of Loners, maybe an Apo. There's a lot of options, really. And Sarkodiak has some tap.
That being said, I mean... If I had to pick an elf team, I've said this a million times, but if I have to pick an elf team to play as a Nurgle coach, I pick Dark Elves because it's the speed that is more annoying than the Agi, and Dark Elves are the slowest elf team. And
you're going with Nurgle.
They're less fast than they used to be. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Nurgle. I mean, the Dark Elves get a boatload of inducements, but
fuck it, I'll go Dark Elves.
Not gonna have much in the way of a bench unless they go heavy on like star player inducements. Removals will do removal things.
Picking contentiously.
Fair enough.
Chaos versus Nurgle.
This is a big one.
Probably the Nurgle. Chaos hate fighting Nurgle. Unless they get really good removals. It's just
which Nurgle team is it? Lewis's Nurgle. On the one hand, Nurgle hate being down TV because it kind of sucks to be down TV as Nurgle. Your inducements are garbage. But you're not down by very much, and you're playing against another bashy sort of punch team. I don't know. I mean, I think I'm gonna go with Nurgle, and that's just sort of on the basis of numbers. Like regen sometimes does a thing, fell appearance sometimes does a thing.
Chaos need a lot more to go right to beat Nurgle.
Yeah, but I think it's like 55-45. Like I would be very unsurprised if this went either way. But I gotta pick a team, so I'll pick the Nurgle. Lackland Longtongues and the Greeny Weenies. Did you pick the Nurgle too?
Yes.
Okay.
So we got Orcs.
Holes and Earths.
We talked about this one a lot already, so we should
just pick one.
Yeah.
With the skink being gone is a really big deal. The Black Orcs being gone is a really big deal. Oh man.
I know what I'm picking.
if that skink was in there, I would pick lizards. The lizards don't get slibly, right?
Not unless they scum.
How much do they have to scum?
60k.
That's too much.
I mean, they can, but
they can, but it's almost all their money. I'll go orcs because that skink isn't there.
Okay, I pick lizards.
I figured you would, but so we'll go contentious, and also that skink I think is a big deal.
Bretts versus Chorfs. I think the Bretts have got this, like I said.
Yeah, I think so too. The one really good Chorf is probably not enough to stop the elf game, and I'm going to agree with you on that one. Grungy Desserts, and Felwith's Coatadol. So here's the big one. I mean, it's big for not for science. He really wants to win it. Stouticus doesn't really care because he's already got his playoff spot locked in. So if that helps make your decision at all, he doesn't need to like go ham.
Play hard, yeah.
Felwith wants to, but doesn't really have to. I mean, if this was any other like regular season game, I think I like the Nurgle for this because it's just such a big Nurgle team. But they're missing a couple players, and they probably just want to try to save their team for playoffs at this point and not get too involved with like the Strength 5 and Mighty Blow and all that kind of jazz. So I'm going to take the High Elves, and I think a lot of that is based on that.
I'm going to take Stouticus. I think he can pull.
I think he can, but I think he doesn't. He's going to focus a little bit more on keeping his really good players like nice and safe rather than
we've just been doing the like one contentious pick a week thing, so now I'm just like
everything is contentious just for fun. Rebel Rage Quit and Bioware for life. Ooh, I like this.
I pick Robbie. No, I mean I could.
I mean I'm gonna pick the vampires if you want to go contentious. I mean on the one hand, like the Arabi playstyle is going to work pretty well against Vamps, to be fair, because armor 7 everywhere, and if they lose their blood bags, the vampires are going to be a lot less effective.
I think Holes versus Urs is like a coin flip. Queen Elizabeth for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a coin flip, and I think the Chaos versus Nurgle is also a coin flip. Whereas the other ones I think are a bit more defined. I mean, my brain says vampires, because Robbie doesn't necessarily play the ball, but if he gets crazy removals on thralls, the vampires can be super ineffective without their blood bags. So
remove themselves.
Yeah, so it varied this well. This is either going to be a vampire win or like a complete pitch clear. Like there's going to be 0 vampires on the field, or and Robbie wins, or the vampires are going to win.
Yep. So that is the div. And
which did you pick for that?
I picked the Vamps.
Okay, I also picked the Vamps, and I'm excited to see that one. Okay, well, I'm going to bring up the title screen. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. Sorry we kind of, like, rushed through that a little bit, but Shadorra does have to leave, and I feel like you'd rather slightly rushed coverage from both of us than just me talking for a while about things you probably don't care about.
The 2-hour recap suddenly becomes a 3-hour recap.
Yeah, exactly. When it's just me, I would talk for more. We'll be back next week with the second last recap after these matches, because there'll be one more match to predict next week, and then I'm not sure we should do a post season 1 to see where we stand for the predictions, and
probably just a quick one where we talk about like the predictions. We look at the teams going to playoffs and we look at their matches, and maybe like we were gonna do one last season, I should say. And we just ended up being really busy, so we couldn't manage it. But
yeah, so we definitely should, and we probably will. So 2 more recaps from us. I hope you've enjoyed the coverage this season. There'll be 2 more of them, and we'll be back next Thursday. Thanks very much, everybody, for hanging out. I don't have anything scheduled that I can promote because I don't have any matches scheduled. But my match versus Professor Chaos is a very important one, and once we get around to scheduling that, I'll try to let people know, because that's one a lot of people care about. But we will see you next Thursday, and until then, thanks for hanging out. I've been Steakmittens.
I'm Shadorra.
And we, Halloween, folks. Yes, boo, and we will see you next time.